I called my broker on a Tuesday morning. I asked to withdraw my silver. They put me on hold for 47 minutes. This is the story of what happened when I tried to get the physical silver that my account said I owned. What I discovered will make you question every investment you think you have. Let me start from the beginning. After making the first video about fractional reserve silver, I got thousands of comments telling me I was exaggerating, that the system wasn't that bad, that banks wouldn't actually prevent you from getting your metal. So I decided to test it. I called my broker and asked to withdraw 500 ounces of silver from my account. Real silver, physical bars, delivered to me. Here's what happened. First call, 9:17 a.m. I reach my account representative. Nice guy. I've talked to him before about trades. I tell him I want to take physical delivery of silver. He asks why. I say I just want the metal. He says, okay, let me transfer you to our precious metals delivery department. I'm on hold for 23 minutes. Elevator music. Then a woman picks up. She asks for my account number. I give it. She asks what I want to withdraw. I say 500 ounces of silver. There's a pause. Long pause. Then she says, Sir, your account shows unallocated silver holdings. For physical delivery, you would need to convert to allocated first. I ask what that means. She explains that my silver is currently in a pooled account. To get physical delivery, they need to assign specific bars to me, which requires converting from unallocated to allocated. I ask how long that takes. She says approximately 6 to 8 weeks. I ask why. She says it's their standard process for inventory management. 8 weeks to convert a number on my screen into actual metal. Already this is getting weird. But okay, I say. Let's start the conversion process. She asks if I understand the fees. I say, what fees? She says there's a conversion fee of 4.5% of the total value. I do the math. At current silver prices, that's about $110 per bar on standard 100-ounce bars. For 500 ounces, that's $550 just to convert from unallocated to allocated. I ask why there's a fee. She says it covers the administrative costs of assigning specific serialized bars to my account and updating their vault management system. I point out that I already paid a commission when I bought the silver. She says that was for the unallocated purchase. This is a separate service. Fine. I agree to pay the conversion fee. She says great. She'll start the paperwork. Then she asks about delivery preferences. I say I want it shipped to my address. She says they don't ship directly to residential addresses for security reasons. They ship to approved depositories, or I can arrange pickup from their vault facility. I ask where their vault facility is. She says Chicago. I live in Austin, Texas. So now I either need to fly to Chicago to pick up my silver, or I need to open an account with an approved depository, which has its own fees and minimums. I ask about the depository option. She explains that approved depositories charge storage fees of approximately 0.5% annually, plus a minimum account fee of $150 per year, plus insurance. I point out that I don't want to store the silver. I want to physically possess it. She says I can arrange my own shipping from the Chicago vault, but I'll need to provide insurance documentation and use an approved armored transport service. I ask how much that costs. She says it depends on the service, but typically $500 to $1,200 for that amount of silver. Plus, I need to provide 48 hours notice and be present at the vault during business hours for the handoff. So let me summarize where we are. I want to withdraw silver that my account says I own. To do this, I need to pay a 4.5% conversion fee, wait 8 weeks, fly to Chicago or pay for armored transport, and potentially open a depository account with annual fees. The total cost to access my own silver is looking like $1,500 to $2,000. I ask if there's a simpler option. She says I can sell my unallocated silver and buy physical silver elsewhere. I point out that would trigger a taxable event, and I'd lose the bid-ask spread twice. She agrees that's not ideal, but says those are the options for unallocated accounts. This is where I start getting suspicious. These aren't just normal transaction costs. These are barriers. These are specifically designed to make you not want to take delivery. I tell her to proceed with the conversion anyway. She says great, she'll email me the forms. I ask when I'll get them. She says 3 to 5 business days. I ask why it takes that long to email a form. She says they're generated by their back office and need compliance review before being sent to clients. The call ends. I wait for the forms. 6 business days later, no email. I call back. Different representative this time. I explain the situation. She can't find any record of my delivery request. She says she'll look into it and call me back. She doesn't call back. I call again the next day. 3rd representative. I explain everything again. He finds a note in my account, but says the forms weren't generated because my account doesn't meet the minimum for physical delivery. I ask what the minimum is. He says 1,000 ounces for precious metals delivery. I have 500 ounces. I ask why nobody mentioned this before. He doesn't know. I ask what my options are. He says I can either increase my position to meet the minimum, leave it as unallocated, or sell. I point out that I specifically want delivery. He says he understands, but those are the policies. At this point, I'm 3 weeks into this process. I've made 6 phone calls. I've talked to 5 different people. I've gotten contradictory information, and I still don't have my silver. I decide to try a different approach. I look at the major silver ETFs. SLV, the largest silver ETF, has a prospectus that clearly states only authorized participants can redeem shares for physical silver. Authorized participants are major financial institutions, not individual investors. So if you're a retail investor in SLV, you cannot get physical delivery under any circumstances. You can only sell your shares. I check PSLV, which markets itself as a physically backed silver fund where shareholders can redeem for physical. But when I read their redemption policy, it requires a minimum of 1 London Good Delivery bar, which is 1,000 troy ounces, worth about $25,000 at current prices. And there are fees, and there are delays, and you need to go through a specific process with documentation. I try calling a major bank that offers precious metals accounts. I ask about their physical delivery process. The representative tells me they've temporarily suspended physical deliveries due to supply chain disruptions. I ask when they'll resume. She says they don't have a timeline. I ask what my options are if I want my metal now. She says I can close my account and they'll send me a check for the current market value. This is the pattern. Every institution I contacted had barriers, delays, fees, minimums, or outright suspensions. Nobody made it easy to convert paper silver into physical silver. Everyone made it expensive. Everyone made it complicated. But here's what really opened my eyes. During this whole process, I was also tracking silver prices. Paper silver, the spot price, was trading in a tight range, around $24 per ounce. But when I called local coin dealers to ask about buying physical silver, the premiums were massive. American Silver Eagles were selling for $32. That's an $8 premium over spot, a 33% markup. So in the same market at the same time, paper silver is $24 and physical silver is $32. Same metal, $8 difference. Why? Because there's a shortage of physical silver while there's unlimited paper silver. Think about what this means. If you own paper silver through an ETF or unallocated account, you can sell it instantly at $24. But if you want to buy physical silver, you pay $32. The institutions are arbitraging an $8 spread by selling paper silver they don't have, while physical silver is scarce. After a month of trying to get my silver, I finally got a call back from my original broker. They said they reviewed my account and they could make an exception to the 1,000-ounce minimum if I agreed to take delivery in the form of a 500-ounce bar, which is one of the standard forms they hold in their vault. But the bar would need to stay in allocated storage at their vault for a minimum of 90 days before it could be shipped, and I would need to pay storage fees during that period. I asked why there's a 90-day holding period. The representative said it's their policy for new allocated positions. I pointed out that I've owned this silver for 2 years. He said yes, but it's been held as unallocated. Once converted to allocated, there's a holding period before delivery. This is when I realized what's really happening. They don't want you to take delivery, ever. They want you to keep your silver as a number on a screen, paying fees, generating trading commissions, providing them with deposits they can lend against. Every policy, every minimum, every fee, every delay is designed to keep the metal in their vault and keep you holding paper claims. I calculated all the costs: conversion fee, storage fees for 90 days, shipping or pickup costs. Total, $1,847. To withdraw $12,000 worth of silver. That's a 15% transaction cost. Nobody would rationally pay 15% to access their own assets. So nobody does. The silver stays in the vault. The bank keeps selling claims against it. The fractional reserve system continues. I canceled my delivery request, not because I don't want the silver, but because I wanted to understand the system, and now I do. The silver you think you own exists as a database entry. The physical silver exists in a vault, but it's been pledged against dozens or hundreds of other claims, just like yours. The bank profits from the spread between paper and physical. They profit from the fees they charge when you try to take delivery. They profit from lending against the deposits. They have every incentive to make delivery difficult, and every incentive to keep you holding paper. When I tell people this story, they ask if this is legal. Yes, it's completely legal. Unallocated accounts are standard in the industry. The terms and conditions you agreed to when you opened your account specifically state that unallocated holdings are general creditor claims against the institution. You're not the owner of specific silver bars. You're a creditor with a claim on the bank's silver inventory. The question isn't whether it's legal. The question is whether you understand what you actually bought. Did you think you were buying silver? You weren't. You bought a liability of the bank. And in a crisis, when everyone tries to redeem at once, you'll learn the difference between owning metal and owning a claim on metal. I still have my unallocated silver position. Not because I trust the system, but because now I know exactly what it is. It's a bet that the price will go up. It's not a safe haven asset. It's not protection against currency collapse. It's a number on a screen that I can sell for cash when I want to. If you want actual silver, the kind that protects you in a crisis, you can't buy it through a broker. You have to buy physical from a dealer. Pay the premium. Pay for storage or home safe, and accept that it's not easy to sell quickly. That's the price of actually owning the metal. The financial system doesn't want you to know this. They want you to think paper and physical are the same. They're not, and every barrier they put in my way was designed to keep me from discovering that truth. I tried to withdraw my silver. What I discovered was that my silver doesn't exist, not in any meaningful sense. It exists as a number, as a promise, as a claim, but not as metal I can hold. And if that's true for my account, it's true for millions of other accounts. Billions of dollars in paper silver backed by a fraction of the physical metal. A system that works perfectly until everyone realizes it doesn't work at all. I couldn't get my silver. Now you know why.